is a little long. My Auntie Bo told me I could do whatever I want tonight, so it's going to be pretty long. My brother, Dave Beckles, and I have been talking about this wedding since Hannah and Joe started dating, so can't believe it's finally here. First, I just want to say thanks, Joe, for being my best friend, because you introduced me to my two other best friends, Brian Lane and Mike Linetti, so thank you for that. I'd like to start off by thanking Mr. and Mrs. Deck for a wonderful rehearsal dinner last night and a great time. You both did a wonderful job planning it. Wow, I can't believe how quick this wedding came. I gotta say, Joe, it was about time you proposed to Hannah. We've all been waiting for this wedding for a long time. Plus, you're gonna be like 33 this spring, so we might have to. One of the things that my brother, Steve, Joe, and I always had in common was that we never would proofread papers we wrote in high school and college, because if we did, we would think that it was horrible, and wouldn't want to hand it in. So of course, why change now? I didn't proofread the speech, so bear with me if I slow down at some point and make a mistake. Joe, you've been my best friend for about 12 years now. Knowing you has been the best 12 years of my life. Right from day one, captain's practice, when I first met you, I always looked up to you, and to this day I still do. I was just a 14-year-old freshman who didn't have a clue about life or what I was doing at prep. You as a junior seemed to have... Mr. Speed. Good job. Have it together, and we're a great hockey player, and I wanted to be like you. I remember going home from school one day and telling my mom that I needed new clothes, a new Z-Bubble hockey stick, New Balance sneakers, and an Iron Man watch. She asked me why, and I quickly responded because that was the kind of stuff Joe Deck had, and I want to be like him. Sure enough, Val got me everything I wanted to be like you, Joe. I didn't need to get a Jetta when I got my license, of course, because that's what you drove. We had some great times together, pal, and I can stand here and tell you story after story. I guarantee that every single one of you would want me to keep going, but I'll do my best to keep it short. Being friends with Joe in high school, I learned a lot. I learned how to chew tobacco when I was 14. It was on my way to my first varsity hockey game at prep with Joe and Mike Cruz. And they were doing it, and I thought it was cool. So I said, guys, let me have some. Needless to say, that probably wasn't the best time to have my first chew. I threw up all over the place and made us late to the game. Sorry, guys. I also had my first beer with Joe as well, at a party after one of our big wins at prep. That didn't turn out so well either. But Joe stayed up all night with me by the toilet. Joe, you've had my back, whether it was on the ice, in school, or at a party, where I probably started the fight.
Yes, always.
Anyways, but you were always there to make sure I was okay and finish the fight off. So thanks for always being there and being a big brother for Steve and I. We always looked up to you. I'm sure we always will.
Deep breath, sir. Deep breath.
The years that you lived in our house or our family was probably my favorite years of our friendship. Even though we almost killed each other a million times, even though we hated working at Thurston Foods in the summer, and even though I peed on you in my sleep, it was always worth it. When me, you, and Steve would get home from work, and my dad would already be sitting on the deck with an ice-cold butt, and he'd look at us with the biggest smile and said, "Did you work hard today, men?" And he would tell us that he bought some 30 packs of beer, and to go get ourselves a beer, and to come sit out with him. The stories and laughs we shared on the deck are priceless.
Breathe.
My favorite time was the time Bill told Steve and I that the girls we were dating were not the girls we should marry. Then he said to Joe, "But Joe, Hannah is the one for you. You need to marry her. She's gorgeous, she loves you, and she puts up with you. And let's face it, kid, you're not going to do any better than her." Later on that night, Joe said to me, "Well, I guess I'm going to marry Hannah. Bill told me to. I had to, so that's that." Thanks for always being there for me, kid. Anna, you were the first friend I made that went to Laurelton Hall. We always stayed in touch over the first 3 years in high school, but senior year we became best friends. I don't think we did anything without each other that year. We had some great times. I remember always having to pick you up every weekend we went out because the sob you had would always die. And the one time we did take it out, sure enough, it did die. I would call Hannah up and say, hey, what do you want to do tonight? I don't think there's anything going on. Her response would be, I don't know, just come pick me up. Dylan got me a 30-pack of Red Dog that we could drink somewhere. I don't think I could ever drink another Red Dog. I'm pretty sure we had a million of those senior year in high school. I would pick Hannah up, and she would walk outside with this stupid knapsack she had that perfectly fit a 30-pack in it. I'm convinced to this day that Patty knew it was in your bag, Hannah. Hannah never missed one of my hockey games that year. Even if it was on the road, she would always find the way to get there just to watch me play. I always needed to find Hannah in the stands. Before the game started, to feel at ease, it would always make me play better. Thanks, Hannah. I don't think you missed an after party that year either. It was almost like you were on the team too. Change page. Hannah and I would talk about everything together and still do. Even though there were probably some details I could have left out in the conversations we had over the years that she probably didn't want to hear, I never did. I mean, why would I? It was Hannah. She's my best friend, and she always understood me like no one else. Whenever I had a problem, I would call Hannah and say, Hannah, we need to talk. She would respond, geez, Chris, what did you do now? Do I need to sit down? Over the years, Hannah had to deal with all the girls I've dated, and the ones that lasted were the ones that Hannah didn't scare off. Yeah. Every time I would be hanging out with a girl, my mom would ask, well, what does Hannah think of her? Does she like her? Chris, if Hannah doesn't like her, then I don't approve and you can't date her. Thanks for always looking out for me, Hannah. You've always been there for me. Joe and Hannah, you two are perfect for each other, and I couldn't be happier for you both. I want to tell a brief story that explains how Joe and Hannah are always on the same page. A few years back, my girlfriend at the time, Joe, Hannah, and my parents decided we would get 6 season tickets in a row to UConn football. We were having a great time going to the games together. The games were always noon on Saturdays, so Joe and Hannah would spend the night over my parents on the Friday before. This one particular Friday, after the girls went to bed, Joe and I, of course, weren't ready for bed. We continued to stay up and drink all night and shoot the shit. We used to have some of our best conversations when we did this. Well, Joe and I decided at 3 a.m. that it was a great idea to drive to the casino and put $500 each on the roulette wheel on even, because that was our hockey numbers, of course. We did just that, spun the wheel, and won, and went crazy in the casino with every degenerate in the place looking at us like we were completely insane. We drove back to the house with our winnings without anyone knowing and got about a half hour of sleep before we left for the UConn game. Somehow Hannah and my girlfriend found out from the wad of cash we both had on us that morning. Hannah thought it was awesome and said, great, now we have money for beer and food today. My girlfriend, on the other hand, didn't like it so much. They wanted to kill me and probably broke up with me for the day. Hannah, you and Joe are always on the same page, and I love that about you both. My parents have always considered you both a son and daughter in the family. When we used to go out to dinner, the waitress would always say to my dad, sorry, Hannah.
All right.
What a wonderful family you have. My dad would respond, thank you, I sure do. How gorgeous is my daughter? Almost. You're doing it.
Yes, sir. You got it, kid.
You got it.
This part's kind of funny, so. Had some great times together, from the concerts, vacations, and road trips. The road trips especially, when all of us would be in the minivan, probably going to see one of Steve's hockey games. And Bill would yell back to everybody, does anybody need to take a leak? Hannah, do you have to take a leak? I'm pretty sure he was the only one in the entire world ever allowed to ask Hannah if she had to take a leak. That's just the way it was. I know he wishes he could be here and would have had the best time out of anybody here. You both have come a long way since the first time you met, when we were at the Brooks and Dunn concert on the Double Date. I looked over to see how you guys were doing, and you were making out to the end of the So I guess it went well. Nice work, guys. I'm so happy for you guys, and also very happy this speech is over. I'm sure you're all sick of listening to me, so let's raise our glasses to Joe and Karen.
Now you can enjoy.
Hey, everybody.